nerds, what's up? Today's video is going to be my January haul and my February TBR, which is basically my entire Blackathon TBR, and then you will be getting a different TBR coming soon for Contemporaryathon because I'm gonna participate in that too, and like, let's just stress out Cassie. Let's just stress her out with all the things, but like, it's fun. It's fun. Let's get into this video. So I do have some library books here that I did want to show off. I did get After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid from the library in January. I read this for Biannual Bibliothon. I actually, though, didn't read the physical copy. I got the other audio version by the library and listened to it instead. And then I also got from the library Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno. I am so upset with myself because like I'm so broke that I can't buy myself a copy of this book and feel good about it, but like this is not going to be a reread. It's a Sassy Book Club pick, so this is the January book of the month. February 1st, 7 p.m. PST, we will be live showing about Summer of Salt. Got it from the library. I really need a physical copy of this. But until then, the library is a glorious thing. All of these, I think, I stole from Chelsea Dolly Reads. I love Chelsea, and she's great. She helps me with my non-book buying habit, but like my wanting new books in my house habit by doing unhauls herself and then offering them all to me. So, I got Seafire by Natalie C. Parker. This is a young adult fantasy about a mermaid, maybe? No idea. So it sounds super feminist. Oh, it's a female pirate ship, that's right. So the Seafire is a pirate ship run entirely by women, and then at some point there's a man who wants to be a part of the ship, and they have to decide if that's a good idea or not. And I'm into it. The next one is The Perfect Girl by Gillian Macmillan. Based on what the cover looks like, I'm assuming this is a thriller / mystery. Zoe Maisie is a 17-year-old musical prodigy with a genius IQ. 3 years ago, she was involved in a tragic accident that left 3 classmates dead. She served her time, and now her mother Maria has resolved to keep that devastating fact tucked far away from their new beginning, hiding the past even from her new husband, and demanding that Zoe do the same. The next book is The Names They Gave Us by Emery Lord. The only thing I know about this is there's church stuff involved. Lucy has her perfect summer planned out, perfect boyfriend, perfect job, quality time with her perfect parents, and then her mom's cancer comes back, and suddenly life makes no sense. Before she knows it, Lucy finds herself agreeing to volunteer as a counselor at a camp for troubled kids, where lives are more different from her own than she could have imagined possible. Here Lucy meets the dashing but mysterious fellow counselor Jones, who will change the way she sees the world forever. That is such a weird name for me, personally, because the security guard at one of my jobs is named Jones. He's a very nice man, but that's weird. The next book I got was History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I've read this. I love this book. This is a book about a boy whose ex-boyfriend dies in a tragic accident, and the ex-boyfriend's current boyfriend is also at the funeral, and so the only people that they really end up turning to are each other, even though there's this weird kind of bad blood between them, having this person who was in both of their lives at different times, and ow, it hurts. The next book I did get was Side Effects May Vary by Julie Murphy. Have read one book by Julie Murphy, Ramona Blue, and I absolutely freaking loved it. I also own a couple different ones. I think I own, is Dumplin' by her? I own that, if that's by her. I also like remember wanting this book, but I don't really remember what it's about. I assume that it's got some mental health stuff. 16-year-old Alice is diagnosed with leukemia. Well, shoot, another cancer book. Great. And the last 3 books that I got from Chelsea were the 3 Across the Universe books by Beth Revis. I read Across the Universe a couple years ago, I think now, and I really, really loved it. I got it from the library on ebook. I hate these covers. They are so ugly, but I really like this book. It's a sci-fi novel about like a time in which a group of people are like frozen so that they can travel in space, and then when they arrive, they're gonna be fine. But there's also people on the ship who are alive. Somehow, this one girl named Amy ends up woken up from her frozenness and is like delved into this like crazy situation. I remember it being good enough that I wanted to read the other ones, I just never did. So now I have them and now I can continue my series. Now time for the TBR. February is Blackathon, hosted by Francina Simone, Jesse, and Lauren, and I have books to read. So they have 5 challenges. The first one is to watch or listen to 4 spoken word poems and then to like talk about them either on Twitter or YouTube or Instagram. And I don't know if I'm gonna do this one in particular, but if I do, you'll see it somewhere. Make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram because I don't know where I'll post my reaction or my feelings about it. But these are the bookish ones. So one is Feel the Love. Read a book with a romance between 2 people of color. I think that American Street by E.B. Du Bois will fit this challenge. It's about a girl who is from Haiti, and there is a romance in this book. The thing is that I'm not 100% sure what ethnicity the romance person is, and so I'm hoping that this fits. If it doesn't fit, please let me know in the comments because I want to fulfill the challenge, but I also really want to read this month, so it might just be on my TBR no matter what. Okay, the next book that I'm going to be reading is for the challenge Wakanda Forever. Read a graphic novel or comic book with a black main character. I'm going to be reading Saga Volume 9 by Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan. This book, the graphic novel is technically about people from outer space, but it's about this romance between 2 people who aren't allowed to be in love, and in my mind, it feels a lot like they're talking about interracial couples. It's interracial species in this particular book. It feels like they are commenting on that, and especially considering history, that definitely did used to be illegal in America, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's where they were going with what this story is. The 2 characters are also, the woman is drawn like a black woman, man is, I think he looks Asian. That's very generic, and they're also alien species, so like kind of throwing it far to catch, but I'm just going with it. The next challenge is to Hear Us Any. Read a work by a black author, and so I am going to be reading Well That Escalated Quickly. She is an activist on Twitter and everything, and she also does the MTV Decoded videos on YouTube, and she wrote a book and I'm going to read it, and it's about activism and feminism and like how she accidentally became an activist. The last book that I want to read this month for Blackathon, the challenge, More Than Color. Read a book about an intersectional black character, so that means that it could be a black character who's also from the LGBTQ community, a black character who has a mental health issue. I want to read Let's Talk About Love, and this book has a biromantic, asexual black main character, so we have some diversity in there, and the cover is gorgeous. The only 2 other things that I need to do is TBR Jar and Goodreads TBR. If you've never watched one of these videos before, this is my TBR Jar. The colors are coordinated, but I can never remember what they are. And there is a book on each of these pieces of paper. I will pick out 3 and I have to read 1. So let's pick this one. Okay, so the first book I got here was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This is a book about a boy. Their name is Ozza, and they have OCD. Contemporary novel. If one of these books works for having a person of color as a main character, uh-oh, one dropped. So I'm gonna pick that one, and then wherever that one went, I'm putting that back. Okay, the next book I got was The Remedy by Suzanne Young, which I think might actually be the 3rd book of this novel. This is a prequel to the program. So I've read the program, that one definitely came first. This is the book that came next. This is a dystopian about a world in which like 99% of the population of like teens have like high severe depression, and there's like a high suicide rate in that age group. One more here. Let's get down into the depths. And the last book I got here was The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. This is a fantasy, I believe. Nobody Owens, known to his friends as Bod, is a normal boy. He would be completely normal if he didn't live in a sprawling graveyard, being raised and educated by ghosts, with a solitary guardian who belongs to neither the world of the living nor the dead. Okay, So paranormal. Those are my 3 TBR jar choices. So I will be reading one of these throughout this next month. The next thing to do is my Goodreads challenge. Starting on my Goodreads challenge. Okay, we're recording. I have 500 books even now on my Goodreads TBR. Notice how it's going up and not down? This is annoying. Starting with number 398. So these are the 3 books that, if you haven't done this before, I will put a poll here and you can vote on which book you think I should read this month out of these 3 options, and then I will read one of them. So you guys get to pick my TBR. Okay, 398 is The Poet X. Oh my gosh, guys, please pick this one. Okay, so The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo is about a young girl in Harlem discovers slam poetry as a way to understand her mother's religion and her own relationship to the world. Debut novel of renowned slam poet Elizabeth Acevedo. Zamara Batista feels unheard and unable to hide in her Harlem neighborhood. Ever since her body grew into curves, she has learned to let her fists and her fierceness do the talking. But Zamora has plenty she wants to say, and she pours all her frustration and passion into the pages of a leather notebook, reciting the words to herself like prayers, especially after she catches feeling for a boy in her bio class named Aman, who her family can never know about. Okay, number 21. Of course, we're going way to the front. Number 21, Chaos Walking, a trilogy. Number 1 through 3, Patrick Ness, The Knife of Never Letting Go. I do own this book, which would be nice to read. Todd Hewitt is the only boy in a town of men. Ever since the settlers were infected with the noise germ, Todd can hear everything the men think, and they hear everything he thinks. Todd is just a month away from becoming a man, but in the midst of the cacophony, he knows that the town is hiding something from him. Something so awful, Todd is forced to flee with only his dog, whose simple, loyal voice he hears too. With hostile men from the town in pursuit, the two stumble upon a strange and eerily silent creature, a girl. Why wasn't she killed by the germ like all the females on the New World? So that sounds really interesting. Number 51, Dear John, I Love Jane, Women Write About Leaving Men for Women by Candace Walsh. Well, that sounds interesting. The new buzzword in female sexuality is sexual fluidity, the idea that for many women, sexual identity can shift over time, often in the direction of same-sex relationships. Examples abound in popular culture, from actress Cynthia Nixon, who left her male partner of 15 years to be with a woman, to writer and comedian Carol Leffer, who divorced her husband for the same reason. In a culture increasingly open to accepting this fluidity, Dear John, I Love Jane is timely, fiercely candid exploration of female sexuality and personal choice. This was written in 2010, just to give an idea of when this was made. So that sounds also interesting. I love that my want to read list on Goodreads is like diverse enough to be like nonfiction and fiction and like all over the place, because I think it makes it really interesting to see what you guys pick. Although you guys almost always pick the YA if there's a YA choice. The choices are The Poet X, The Knife of Never Letting Go, or Dear John, I Love Jane. So those are your 3 choices. The poll is here. One of those sides, I can never remember which. So you guys get to pick that book for me, and then I will pick between the 3 books here, and I will also be reading those books for the Blackathon, and I have a Contemporary-a-thon TBR coming, so maybe I will try to fit one of these into that, and yeah, so. If I had to pick between what you guys were picking, I would pick Poet X. I think I'll probably pick Turtles All the Way Down for this one, and then fit it into my Contemporary-a-thon TBR. I do have some already picked, and this one doesn't go in any of the ones that I don't have picked yet, so we shall see. That was it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I post videos every Thursday and Saturday. You can also follow me on all my social media, always linked down below, and I will see you guys very soon with a new one. Bye! I wish I